Yeah, obviously good victory. It was nice to have a game that the game wasn't in doubt when the fourth quarter started. You're up 34-7, and you can get a bunch of young guys in. And we have, we've won a lot of conference games here the last few years, but we haven't had many that you could actually enjoy them, and they didn't come down to the last play or at least the last series or so. I mean, that's kind of so that was nice. Start off really sharp, offensively. Moving the ball down the field, scoring points, finishing drives, everything we had talked about, we hadn't done the week before. Got the ball in the end zone, jumped out 14-0. Defense again stopped the run pretty much right away. Got them to be very one-dimensional. So really liked our start. You jump on them 14-0 right off the bat, come out on both sides of the ball, ready to go. And then we have the fumble, and again, can't have the fumble. You're going to play a lot of close games. You cannot turn the ball over. We have a fumble, and we had started back, and we were moving the ball out, and you're at least going to flip the field there. And then next, and they take advantage. We got to do better on sudden change defensively, but they take advantage. But then offense really responds. They get to 14-7, and it's anybody's game, and we drive down and score. Then probably to me, the biggest play of the game, the end of first half, they were moving it again with a chance maybe 21-10, 21-14, get some more points and stay right in the game at halftime. And Boz really knifes in there and hits their tailback and creates a fumble, and Lonnie gets on it. To me, that was a huge play because then we had the ball at the end of half. Now, we didn't convert there, but we had a chance to go up 3 scores. We got the ball on their side of midfield. We were there, and we just kind of sputtered, and we end up punting it away at the end of the half. But we knew we had the possession to start the second half, so that fumble gave us 2 straight chances. Then second half offense really came out and ended it. We came out of the locker room good. We marched down, we score. We get a nice stop right away. We march down and score, and all of a sudden you're 34-7. And what you were preparing for a tough contest, and you're now in real good shape. Obviously, fourth quarter we played a lot of young guys. It was a great experience for them. They got to get out there. They got to play. That's why we do it. They got to go get that game experience. It's nothing like practice. The plays are similar in it, but it just, and then it was really good because they watched our starting offense and starting defense really, really dominate the football game. And so you're watching, you're thinking, man, I can't wait to get out there. It's, they're not very good. Well, they are pretty good. And Akron's done a lot of nice things. They're coming off a nice win. Like I said, their first 2 conference games, they took OU to the fourth quarter, 17-17, and they beat Bowling Green, and they came in there with a lot of confidence, and they're a better football team. We played a really solid game Saturday, and we did a lot of things well, and we executed very well on both sides of the ball, and at times we made them look not as good as they are. They're coming, they're getting better, they're well coached. So, and then our 2s kind of figure that out, like they're not maybe not as bad as they have looked for 3 quarters, that they've got good players, and they move the ball up and down the field and obviously scored on us. But that was a good experience. We don't get that very often. A lot of times we don't get that after like the Long Island game. You don't get it again the rest of the year where you have a chance to maybe play some younger guys and get some experience and go out there and play and learn what it's like to play at this level. Big difference between high school and college. And until you play it and feel it and see it, it's you got to go through that. So that was good. All around very good victory. Very pleased. Like I said, we had some bad plays, but we had less plays where we shot ourselves in the foot, no question. We made Akron earn it. We executed a lot of plays on both sides of the ball, O&D, and then took advantage of our talent and made a bunch of plays. And again, like we've talked previous week, just a lot of contributors. Like, who won the game for Miami? You can't say post-game locker room, I couldn't even think of who to really highlight. Like, there's so many guys that contributed on both sides of the ball. We ran the ball, we threw the ball, we blocked better, we protected better. AJ probably, if the one guy, I think AJ had a really, 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 really good game all around, mentally, physically, throwing accurate, short, long, east and west, north and south. Like, every throw he made was pretty much on the money the whole day. So, but he threw it to a lot of different guys and handed to a lot of different guys. And defensively, some of our best players on Sunday were like, yeah, I didn't really make any plays, and they're some of our best players. They just didn't, not because they missed them, they just didn't get the opportunity to make them. But a lot of kids contributed, which again, we're going to continue to need.
So Sterling was talking after the game about how you guys really tried to eliminate the run. Is that going to change this week with Ball State a little bit? Would your defensive game plan change some?
We would always like to eliminate the run. Everybody would. I mean, it doesn't mean our game plan is just designed to stop the run, but we want to focus on our run fits and make sure everybody knows where they're going the run game. And if you can make offenses one-dimensional, you have a much better chance to stop them, So we always focus on, that's always a top priority of ours, keeping the ball inside and in front, stopping the run game, making them drive the football, Harder to do against Ball State because of their quarterbacks and their receivers are, and what you're alluding to, I know, is very, very talented, and they're big play offense, and they run a bunch of trick plays. There's so much that they bring to the table offense, but they're also very good run the football. They ran the ball up and down the field on Eastern Michigan, which we couldn't run the ball very effectively against Eastern Michigan. They ran the ball late in the game when they had a salt away in the game. They went on like a 14-play, 85-yard drive and did not throw it one time. And Eastern knew they were running, and they hammered them. It wasn't like 3 yards in cloud of dust. It was 5, 6, 7, 8, 6. I mean, it was just bam, bam, bam. So they're like all good offenses. They're as good as any offense in this league. If they get the run game going, and now they got their play action game going and their boot game going, they do so many different things. But we got to do a good job against run. But like you said, we can't just sell out to stop the run and let Plitz throw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns.
You mentioned the kind of good all-around performance that AJ had Saturday. How much have you been able to watch the growth in his game over the course of this year so far?
Yeah, he's getting better and better. And again, Saturday, like every quarterback, he needs help. Like you got to protect him. You got to get the run game going. And if you do, he's talented. He's a really good player, And there's been times this year that we haven't played as well around him, and that affects quarterback. Not saying that when we don't play well, our quarterbacks have nothing to do with it, and it's, but again, we had time Saturday. He can make the reads and throw the ball, and he can make all the throws very easily. So he's really continued to grow. It really started after the 19 season, even though COVID was kind of a messed up year. He really, we had a short spring, but that off season, he really improved. And that fall camp, even though it was choppy and stopping and starting, like he's been coming for a long time. And, then obviously this year, getting some game experience and playing and getting a ton of reps and then Saturday, when you can run and you can protect him, he showed what kind of player he is. So, and he's still young. He's still a young player. He's got this year plus 2 more years of eligibility, and he's going to continue to get better. Just like we keep saying with Brett too. We got 2 young quarterbacks who will continue to improve because they're both really good players and they both are really competitive and they're both really confident. All the things that you can't coach, they have, and it's just a lot of it just playing and getting experience. And obviously, as the more experience he showed Saturday, he was in a good rhythm start to finish. Like he was just, everything seemed very natural, very easy, very much rhythmic. Our offense was really clicking, and it was fun to watch.
With Ball State being the inter-divisional opponent there, how much have you seen in recent years where that has developed into a pretty good rivalry between the two schools?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak for them. We got a lot of respect for them and Coach New. They've been good. They've been good for a while. I said back in 19, they ended up beating us the last game of the year. Obviously, we didn't play good second half. We held some guys out in the second half that got dinged up in the first half. But we knew that, I felt like in 19 they were as good as any team we played all year. I felt like that before we played them. We played 11 games. This was our last conference game. We hadn't played everybody in crossovers, but I had seen everybody on tape. Going into that game in 19, I thought they were as good as anybody we played. And then they end up beating us, Then we end up going on to win the championship the week later. And again, then last year, I thought going the year they were as good as any MAC team. And obviously we beat them in the opener, but it proved out to be that they're a pretty good MAC team because they took it to everyone else the rest of the year. So they've been really good on offense. They're really explosive. Obviously, they got great experience. Hall and Plitt have been there forever. Tyler's been there a while. They've got these 6-year offensive linemen that have been there forever. They run their system. They're really good at Plitt's really good at running. He's been running the stuff. He knows their system inside and out. They've really improved defensively. Starting in 19, they were getting better, and then 20, they got a lot better this year. So that's where they've really made, because they were always as good as any offense in our league since they've been, for the last 4 or 5 years they put up points and numbers on everybody. And again, they've scored a lot of points against us. They've done as good a job against our defense as anybody in the league as far as producing points. So we know we have our work cut out for them. And then again, they do so many formations and empties and wildcats, and then they're the king of the trick plays. It doesn't matter. I remember back in 18, as the first quarter, I don't know, they must have run 5, 6 trick plays in the first stinking quarter. I'm like, they got to be running out of trick plays at some point. And then the next play, they ran a reverse for a touchdown. I'm like, well, I guess they're not, you know. And then it doesn't matter the last week, it was a double pass the first play of the game. You know, hit a double pass and they threw it out to wide out and they ran their their tailback right down the middle of the field. Like he ran right down the A gap right there and they threw in there. He was wide open. And they've had 3 straight games. They've had 2 straight games before last week where they scored a touchdown the first play of the game on long passes. And then last week they hit a double pass for 40 yards. They didn't get a touchdown. The 1 week Hall returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown. Then they ran a double move. So they had run 1 offensive play and had 14 points. And Hall's leading the nation in returning, kicking and kick returns and punt returns. So it's every snap and every down on special teams against these guys. You have to bring your A game to have a chance to slow them down. If you don't, Hall can score from anywhere. Plitt can make something happen from anywhere. They have really good backs, north and south guys. So, like I said, his Army game was opening kickoff return, Hall 99 for a touchdown. They stopped Army on 4th and 1. They ran double move for a touchdown. It was 14-9. They run 1 offense play. They had 14 points. And then the next week was a long touchdown. The first Western Michigan was an 80-yarder the first play of the game, and then or I don't know what it was. I can't remember the order. But then the last week it was a double move for 50. They didn't get a touchdown, but then they got 33 on the next play last week. It was like 40, then 33. That was the first 2 plays. And so they come out swinging, and they do, like, again, they get in Wildcat, and then it's Wildcat. Then next thing you know, Plitt's got the ball back, and he's throwing a reverse pass. So you really have to stay home. You really have to be on your business. You have to expect the unexpected every down when you try to play these guys. We'll practice more trick plays this week than I've got him back from. He's been there a while. Like, we've got a bank of Ball State trick plays. It's endless, you know. And we started rubbing. The first play we ran in our Sunday walkthrough was a double pass, you know. So, and then we got the Wildcat, like, we got them all, and we'll rep them every day over and over. Saturday walkthrough, we'll be repping them, so. And they're still hard to stop. Doesn't matter, because you don't know, it's going to be something different. It's going to be something new. It's not going to be the same one you've run, so.
Your scout team's head's got to be reeling.
They like those plays, though. That's when it's more fun for them when they get to do they were jacked up yesterday. The first play is, you know, trick plays. They know we've already talked to them. Like, hey, they like that stuff, and see if they can pull one off. And the sad thing is sometimes the scout teams pull them off against you because they're tough to stop, you know.
So when Gabbert's ready to come back, how are you going to handle that Gabbert-Mayer situation?
Yeah, and Brett's still our starter. Like I said, Brett's never done anything not to be our starter. You know, I mean, he's never, whenever he's been healthy, our record's unbelievable with Brett Gabbert as our starting quarterback. So, but again, hasn't been much of an issue this year because we really haven't. Maybe we've had one game where one of the 7 where we had 2 out. Like, so it's keep preparing, keep getting better, be ready to go, and you know, that's. So far, it's been nice that we've had 2 good quarterbacks because it's given us a chance to, you know, a lot of years this would be over already because, you know, back in 19 when we got to our backup, we didn't have much of a chance, you know, to win. So now it's like, I talk about, like, we're 23-4. We always talk about in our last 27 MAC games where our starting quarterback has started and finished. And then at one point, like, our record was really bad when he didn't, because I think we're 27-10 overall in our last 37 MAC games. All right. But now with AJ, our record keeps getting better when our starter, because now you've got 1 and 1A, you really got 2 starters, you know. So it's like where there's a time it was like we won all our games with our starter, and then we lost all our games when our starter didn't play, you know. But now it's not that way. It's our record keeps improving when you say so-called your starter doesn't play, and again, we've done a good job recruiting the position. Obviously, two really good players there.
Did you get a chance to look at the kicking thing to see what was going on with the field goal and PAT?
Yeah, the timing, everything was bad. The snap, the hold, the kick we've been very smooth. It was a little choppy on the couple we did not make. The other kicks were fine and the other kicks were good, but the whole battery, you know, the whole battery wasn't. The timing, the snap, the hold, nothing was up to snuff on those plays. We got to get better. So it was all 3 guys that were culprits in that.
How's the rest of the injury situation? Do you expect to get Brett back this week?
We'll see. Didn't, you know, he progressed some last week, but he didn't end up dressing. He, you know, what I mean, he wanted to dress, he wanted to play, but he didn't. You know, he knew he wasn't ready. So we'll see. We'll see. It'll be, you know, again, we were hoping to get him ready to at least be a backup last week if he wasn't, but he wasn't. It wasn't physically ready to do that. So we'll see how this week goes. The rest of it, we came out of it pretty good against Akron. We did not. We had, you know, your normal bangs, but we didn't have anything that we're hopeful will keep anybody out this week.
You mentioned all those trick plays, not necessarily with them, but have you ever, in the past, seen anything where you say, that's pretty nifty, and then try it
Oh,
later
no, we
on?
did all the time. That's welcome to the coaching profession. We do it with blitzes, we do it with third down packages, we do it with trick plays, and yeah, certainly, and probably more trick plays than more. You know, that's what you try to. A lot of times, you steal a good one and try to run it like, hey, that's a pretty slick thing they do. So, but yeah, no, they definitely try to steal stuff.